I can't do any work.
Type 1 diabetes.
Good evening, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us on our very first DigiTalks. We've got lots of great stuff to show you tonight, so I really hope you enjoy it. But before we begin, we're just going to put up a little question to get you all involved. So the question is, what is your connection to type 1 diabetes? So feel free to join in the chat, and that leads me nicely on to my connection to type 1 diabetes, which is that my daughter has type 1, and she was diagnosed about 5 years ago. So that's my connection, and I am the community engagement facilitator at DigiBete. So to start with, we have a few slides. So DigiTalks tonight is this brand new series that we're starting, and it's brought to you by DigiBete. So look out more for this coming. Our first one this evening, we're going to be focusing on the brand new tool that some of you may have already seen on our socials. It's Coping with Diabetes. It's a tool for 10 to 14-year-olds. We're going to have a good look around that, and we're going to speak with some great speakers. And thank you to JDRF who have funded this. Thank you. So how would you like to get involved tonight? We have, you can join us on the live chat. If you put any questions you have in the comment, if you do it through DigiTalks, that's digibete.org/DigiTalks, that will come through on the chat, but we'll be able to still pull it in comments. So do join us there across all the different socials, as you can see, through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So yeah, please join us and ask any questions that you would like to have answered if we can. So tonight, just a little thing as well. We've got DigiTalk values, and if you could, the values are, we want to have fun, but just be aware to be respectful if you're in the chat, and also not to share any personal details. If you want to look at the full values, you can look at our website, which is at digibete.org/DigiTalks. So do take a look there. And also, if you find that anything this evening you've been affected by it, please do reach out to your teams, and you can also contact us at hello@digibete.org as well. So what's coming up tonight? Shortly, we're going to be meeting Hilary, who is the Director of Policy and Communications at JDRF. We're going to be hearing from some young people who have type 1 diabetes and hearing their lived experience and their thoughts on the Coping with Diabetes tool. And then to bookend the lived experience, we'll be meeting Maddie, who is the co-founder of DigiBete, and she will run through some of the features of the tool so you can see a bit more about it. And then finally, we will have a lovely live interview with Dr. Rose Stewart, who's a psychologist, and some of you may know her as the author to How to Manage a Mammoth and How to Hold a Hedgehog. So yes, do stay tuned, and I have some questions ready if you have. If you'd like to find out more, you're gonna see a lovely video shortly about DigiBete, but we do have over 300 plus resources on our website, so do take a look. That's free access to anyone. You can take a look around. Films from people in the community, technology, stuff to support you in schools, lots of PDF resources, carb counting and recipes, so do take a look there. For those in the UK and in Ireland, we have a DigiBete app. You would need to get a code from your clinic, so please do reach out to your clinic and they'll be able to give you a code, and then that tailors to your age group. And equally, if you have any issues accessing that, or if you have any questions just generally, please do feel free to email us at hello@digibete.org, and we can help you there as well. So thank you. I've just seen some people popping up on the screen there, so no, thanks for introducing yourself. That's lovely. Great. So I think what we're going to do now is we've got a little film to show you a little bit more about DigiBete.
168,000 users since launch, used in 163 countries, 629,000 support videos watched, centrally funded by the NHS, multi-award winning, free to all families and clinics. DigiBete, connecting, creating and supporting our community. Over the past 8 years, DigiBete have created a safe and secure platform and app, 400 plus multilingual videos, Type 1 stories, games and other resources to help children, young people and their families better manage Type 1 diabetes. 150 plus families and healthcare professionals have been involved in the creation and co-design of these resources, which are available on both DigiBete's website and app for free. The DigiBete app is a self-management tool for you and your community to help organise diabetes, access age-appropriate support to help you manage the challenges of your age, receive communications from your clinic and DigiBete, keeping you up to date with all that's going on in diabetes. You can also organise your Type 1 diabetes, storing your ratios, pump settings, appointments and so much more. Ask your clinic for your unique app code today. This year, DigiBete are also on a mission to improve children and young people's mental health around managing their diabetes. We are creating a new schools training platform with JDRF and Diabetes UK to support a better understanding of diabetes and individual needs in order to reduce stigma in schools. We are also creating a new Coping with Diabetes button in the app, funded by JDRF to help young people and their families manage difficult feelings around diabetes. A vital piece of work. DigiBete is now internationally recognised, and we've been funded by the World Diabetes Foundation and have created a diabetes education platform to support inequalities in Pakistan and beyond. At DigiBete, we know Type 1 has no boundaries, and our resources are being used all over the world. Join us. Together, we can all live better with Type 1 diabetes.
Lovely. So I hope that's given you just a tiny snippet of all that's out there to help support you. So next, we are now going to meet Hilary Nathan. As I mentioned, she's the Director of Policy and Communications at JDRF. So I think, hello, Hilary.
Hello. Oh, it's such an honour to be here for the first DigiTalk, and I just love working with DigiBete, and I think that the collaboration that we've got is just so profound in our impact, and it's just such a joy to be working on such a joint focus with you at DigiBete. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Hilary. Well, I'm not going to talk too much now because I'll stay on the stage with you, but yeah, I know there were some great things that you wanted to share, so I shall hand to you.
So thank you ever so much, and hello everyone, and if you've got questions, please do put them in the chat. You know, it's a two-way thing, this event, and I'm delighted to answer any questions you have. So what I wanted to do is maybe just start with just a little bit of background to JDRF and why we got involved. What was the purpose of coping with the diabetes support tool, and what was our origin story? Every superhero story has always got an origin story. So talking a little bit about the why and the purpose and why we believe it's so important and how it's been done. So a little bit of background about JDRF. We're JDRF UK. We are here to prevent, treat and cure type 1 diabetes. We were founded 50 years ago. Our mothership is in the US. There's JDRF International in the US. And then there's JDRF UK, Netherlands, Israel, Australia and Canada. And part of what we all do is we raise money in our countries, and then we have a central global research program to fund the best research wherever it may be. And a lot of that research actually happens in the UK because the UK is so fantastic at type 1 diabetes medical research. And our foundation point is that prevention, treatment and cure. And I think the journey that we've been on organisationally is seeing traditionally those treatments have been around tech, the treatments have been around looking at complications, retinopathy, etc. And actually what we've been working on over the last few years is to understand that mental health is can be a complication of type 1 diabetes in children and young people, and what are quality assured treatments for children and young people to prevent more serious complications. And so understanding what that landscape was, understanding that there was real unmet need, that there was sort of 1 in 4 children and young people who said that they experienced severe diabetes distress and overwhelm. And when we looked at it, we know that, you know, insulin is a hormone. Children and young people, they're growing like topsy during, you know, puberty, adolescence, the need to become independent, the worries and the fears around how do you cope with something like type 1 diabetes at that point in that journey towards teenage years, adolescence. And we did a bit of work and we saw that there was a real pulsing unmet need around some of those digital support tools. So obviously here in the UK, we're super lucky. We've got the NHS, but we also know that the NHS is cash strapped. So one of the things around sort of the role of charities and social enterprises like DigiBete is we're able to bridge that gap between communities and statutory services. So we started talking to a lot of our donors and a lot of our supporters. And actually, we had a family that had gone through a real tough time with mental health and well-being with their young person. And they said, is there something that we can do? And part of JDRF is we can't do it on our own. We are always within the wider JDRF family, but we know that we can't do things on our own. And that was when, with our collaboration with DigiBete, we felt that there was a partnership here, and working with young people, working with clinicians, to be able to understand what was needed, and that sense of overwhelm, that sense of children feeling quite alone, the issues around family arguments, which are totally normal in teenage life, but with type 1 diabetes, it gets that much harder. And so with the amazing DigiBete being able to create this emotional support platform, and at the moment it's for age 10 to 14-year-olds, but we've now got funding from trusts and foundations to be able to take that further and to be able to develop this in an age-appropriate way, going further and faster, 14 to 16-year-olds, 16 to 18, 18 to 25-year-olds, and for parents as well, an emotional support tool for parents. And I think I'd like to just also add, one of the reasons why I think it's worked is that lived experience. So we've got a chief executive here in the UK who lives with type 1, a quarter of our staff live with type 1, our chief executive of our mothership in the US lives with type 1, and obviously DigiBete's own origin story starts from that lived experience. So we really understand what our purpose is, where the unmet need is around an emotional support tool, and the value of lived experience in shaping these services and support, and that fit between JDRF and DigiBete in being able to really forge something of meaning. So, I mean, I'm tremendously excited by it, and we're all tremendously honoured to be part of it. And we really feel that this is the beginning. This is the beginning of the journey with type 1 diabetes, the community, with DigiBete, to grow this further and faster and to really help prevent some of those longer term complications, mental health complications, and just to be able to help children, young people and their families to live well with type 1. So we're really excited.
Oh, Hilary, that's lovely. Thank you. Yeah, and I should reiterate, yeah, that's really important, isn't it? Tonight is about the 10 to 14-year-olds, but we're starting to do work with the community. So yeah, there'll be a little call out to people if you'd like to get involved in that, because it's such an important topic. So thank you so much, Hilary. I mean, I think we've got quick time for questions. I don't know, Tom, our producer, will let us know. But I don't know if there are any questions, or if you had a question for Hilary, Hilary, if you didn't mind answering some questions in the chat.
Of course.
Yeah, if that's okay. Yeah, lovely. Thank you so much, Hilary. I know we've got JDRF have got some great events coming up, so we'll put that up on the screen in a few moments. But no, we really appreciate working with you guys. It's this stuff has been such good stuff to do with the community as well. So thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you so much for having me, and look forward to coming back again.
Yes, definitely. Yes, thank you. So yeah, as I say, if you have some questions for Hilary, please do, or anything about JDRF, do pop that into the chat. So a couple of events that are coming up. So there's a Discovery Day in Derry, London Derry, on the 11th of May. So if you're in the area, do sign up for that and take a look on their website, and you can find all the details on there. And then they're doing on the 8th of June, there's one in Birmingham. This is a Discovery Day with a slight difference because they're connecting with the One Walk. So that's going to be a great event as well. So please do check out JDRF. They're doing such amazing work for the community, and these Discovery Days, I've been to them myself, and I've met so many lovely people. It's a really lovely place to connect as well. As get lots of good stuff. Okay, on to the next thing. We now have our very own Maddie from DigiBete. She is the co-founder of DigiBete. So I think she's just going to come up onto the stage. Hello. Maddie.
Hello, Michelle.
So I shall hand to you.
Thank you very much. And Hilary, Michelle, thanks so much for the introduction. Hilary, a huge thank you for all you're doing. I was desperate to come on screen with you, actually. Maybe next time we can have a chat together. And yeah, just to say, really, the support that JDRF have put behind these resources for our young people is really groundbreaking and will make such a difference. And I think if we can come together, and anybody who would like to be involved in that next round, it'd be great to hear from you. If you'd like to be involved in the co-design, or you'd like to be involved in the filming, email hello@digibete.org. I'm sure it'll go in the chat box in a minute, and one of us will put it in. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So I think, today we're going to be showing you around the tool in a little while. But first, I wanted just to sort of say a couple of things mainly to you young people, aged 10 to 14, because first of all, I want to tell you that I have a young person aged 10, and I know what a struggle it can really be. So we are walking the walk. I think every one of us in DigiBete, and a lot of JDRF too, really do understand what this is like. And really, this age group is really tricky. So if you're 10 to 14 and you're watching this, or if you're a parent as well, but mainly for the children, the young people right now, I want to say well done, because every day at school it's a challenge, isn't it? Every day you have to make all those extra decisions that your peers are not making, that your friends are not making, and they don't always understand that cup or that energy that it takes to sort of manage a long-term condition as well as sort of growing up. Is really tricky, but it makes you such an amazing human, because you develop skills that your friends probably will never have. The resilience, and also the ability to really kind of think on your feet, the math skills that you may never have had. I just wanted to sort of say a recognition, really, that those 180 decisions you make every single day, we know about them, we see it, and we recognize it. So from all of us, just a big well done to you all. So yeah, as Hilary said, we've teamed up to make these resources for you. So we're not going to get everything right straight away, and that's why we need to hear from you. We are making some games. We've made our first game, but I'm sure we can make some other games as we move forward as well. We've made some meditation resources, some breathing resources, and we're going to sort of show you around some of those today. But first of all, I think we'd like to take you through one of the resources that we've made with one of the psychologists. And I think it's a really great one to showcase, because it's all about how our emotional systems work. And if we understand how our emotions work, we can start putting things in place to help ourselves calm down and build that resilience up with our condition. And I think if you're able to start understanding and see the other young people in the resource as well, also talking about how difficult it is, you can recognize that you're not alone. It's not just you, and that there are a whole 35,000 young people in the UK living with this condition, and across the world. There's a significant number. So with that, I'd like to play to you our 3 emotions films, just so that you can get a little bit of an understanding about how your emotional systems work, and maybe that will help you. And then we'll demonstrate the tool a little bit later on, after hearing some of the young people. So I hope you enjoy it, and we're going to bring in the film now.
Have you ever felt like your mind's a whirlwind of emotions and thoughts? That's completely normal, and one possible explanation is that our brain operates in 3 main systems: the drive system, the soothing system, and the threat system. Have you ever had any of these thoughts? I can't get anything right. What have I done wrong now? It's my fault. Everyone else is managing their diabetes better than me. I'm trying so hard and it isn't good enough. Why can't I do this one thing? I'm totally done with this. What's the point in doing this every day when it always goes wrong? These thoughts are because of our red circle, the threat system. Think of it as our personal alarm. It keeps us safe from dangers. When we're here, we might feel scared, nervous, unsafe, or even angry. Our body might want to fight, run away, or just freeze. This is all because of fear and stress hormones. which our body releases to keep us safe from danger. This system would rather be wrong 100 times than miss something important, and it can also be set off by our thinking and our imagination. It can be more tricky when you're living with type 1 diabetes, as sometimes the symptoms of our hypo can be similar to the threat response. It can always be a good idea to check your glucose levels. Welcome to the blue circle. This is our drive system. This system is active when we feel a sense of reward, excitement or buzz, when we do something fun or achieve a goal or something that is important to us. This might include hobbies, sports, events with friends, or studying something that you enjoy. When we achieve something or feel proud, our bodies release a chemical and our drive system lights up, making us feel excited and happy. The green circle, our soothing system. This is where we feel calm, happy and cared for. When we're here, we feel relaxed and safe, with the help of our love and care hormone. There are lots of things we can do to make our soothing system come online, such as being kind to yourself and keeping active. Anything that makes you feel calm, comforted and safe can activate the soothing system. We can use breathing exercises and meditation, or we can be around people that we're close to and pets, as these are powerful ways to activate the soothing system. We tend to feel best when the three systems are roughly balanced, and might struggle if one or more of the systems is taking over. It can often be the case that we spend more time in the drive and threat systems, whereas the soothing system can be neglected. Sometimes our threat and drive systems clash. That reading is too high. What if it stays high? It's all going wrong. I want my glucose levels to be lower so I can go out with my friends. Okay, I'll increase panic and anxiety. Good work. I'll make them feel like a failure. Yeah, that will motivate them. Threat and drive aren't the bad guys, but feeling anxious or having other tricky feelings all the time can cause burnout or feeling that it's all too much. It's important that we take some time to do things that we like, taking part in hobbies, chatting with friends, or even just taking a walk. We can strengthen our soothing system and help to keep a healthy balance between these systems. So next time you're caught in a whirlwind of feelings, be kind to yourself, take a breath and think of these three circles. Do something you enjoy and regrow your soothe.
So I hope you enjoyed that, and it got you into the frame of really thinking and realizing that diabetes does have a big impact on our emotional systems and how we're able to cope with our lives and manage our diabetes. And actually, by paying attention to that and paying attention to how we feel, we can feel better about managing diabetes and coping with life as well. So thanks very much. And I think we're going to be bringing Michelle back and moving on.
Oh, I absolutely love that. Thank you, Maddie. Yeah, so we will be hearing more from Maddie on the other side of these next few films. So we're at the lived experience section of this evening. So I know obviously lots of you will have realised we've all got connections to type 1, but now we're going to hear from some young people who kindly recorded their thoughts beforehand to tell us their experiences. And the first one we have is from Henry. So I will put that on.
My name is Henry. I'm 11 years old and got diagnosed at the age of 4. I think these resources are so helpful as having type 1 diabetes can be challenging and feel overwhelming. The new Coping with Diabetes resources help me have a safe place to make me feel less worried, calm down and know I'm not alone.
Thank you, Henry. I think, you know, it just makes such a difference to hear that and to share that with other young people and for families as well. So really appreciate you taking the time to do that. Thanks so much, Henry. And for the next video, Jaya wanted to share some thoughts as well.
Hi, my name is Jaya and I was diagnosed with diabetes when I was 7. And I think it's really important to have wellbeing resources when having diabetes, because diabetes is a condition for life, and I think at any point it can get to be too much. So having support for wellbeing is really important, because it can help you manage these day-to-day stresses that you might have. I think these diabetes resources will help me because it's something to refer to and to access when I'm struggling to cope with diabetes, and there's reassurance there that there's people behind these videos that can help you, and that there's support out there, and that you're not the only one accessing them, so you're not feeling these emotions by yourself. There's other people that feel the same way.
Again, thank you, Jaya. I don't know, just even from me, from a parent perspective, I just love hearing these chats and these updates, because it's just good to know what you know, how other people are feeling, and somewhere that my young one can connect with as well as she grows on her journey. So the next piece we've got, it's around 10 minutes long, and we've got a lovely interview that I interviewed a young person who has type 1 diabetes, Emily, and with her mum. So we've had a great chat, and we're just going to share that with you now. And yeah, she's going to tell us a little bit as well about how she manages her diabetes and what her animal is. Oh, it's great to have you both here. We have Emily and Mum Rachel. So just going to ask you a few questions. What do you do to manage your well-being with living with type 1 diabetes? So, for example, you know, just generally saying like playing with friends, or, you know, things like that.
Yesterday we cycled down to a cafe, and then when we came back we saw like loads and loads of golf balls in the forest, because it's near the golf club, and then we were just picking up golf balls for like half an hour, or like maybe 10 minutes. It felt like half an hour, and it was really fun. And also I go to an art thing every Thursday morning, and then I get to do art, and it helps.
That's great. And Rachel, from a parent's perspective, you know, obviously, you know, there's lots to do with managing. Is there certain things that you do? Do you do a bit of art, perhaps?
Yeah, I think particularly when Emily was first diagnosed, there were times when we were both finding it really tricky, and we used to come and sit in our dining room and do some diamond art together and listen to some music, just to help us relax a bit more and not feel so stressed out about all the things we had to remember to do. And I think now one of the things that does particularly help us is having other people that are going through similar things. So I have a parent group that helps me, and Emily goes to some activities for children with type 1 diabetes, and having some friends that are going through similar things can help too. And then the other thing we've got is our ducks. So we chose our diabetes animal, didn't you, Emily, when you were in hospital after reading the book How to Train the Mammoth? And you picked the duck to represent your diabetes and to help you with it. So Emily has a large duck collection of ducks and duck things that we do.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's
quite a few different things that help. And like Emily said, she's seeing CAMS, so she goes to our art therapist once a week at the moment, which is really helping.
Brilliant, thank you. And then the next question is, you know, how do you feel? So obviously you've been involved with the Coping with Diabetes tool, and I know you've sort of had a little look around. So just wondering, you know, how do you feel that it will help you, and what features? Is there anything that you particularly liked?
I liked the videos with the people when they would talk about their experience with it, and also the games and puzzles are quite good.
Brilliant. Thank you. Rachel, I know obviously it's for young people, but I don't know if you've had a little look yourself, if there was anything that pulled out for you yourself.
Yeah, we've watched some of the videos together, and that's been quite nice because that's given us a few talking points and things where Emily's been able to relate to something someone said and then been able to talk more about her own experiences. So sometimes it's helped her to open up a bit and tell me things she might not have thought to tell me about before. So it's been a good conversation starter for us.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's great. And then the last question is, do you, Emily, have any tips or advice that you'd give another young person living with type 1 diabetes, to help with their well-being?
I think that what helped me a lot was having type 1 diabetic friends and friends to relate to, so it can definitely help with your well-being. And also find something that you really like to do, like reading or art, and then whenever you're stressed you could always resort to that.
Brilliant. That's a great tip. And Rachel, anything for mum and dad?
I think trying to find the balance between not having too much focus on the type 1 and being able to get on with normal life, and trying to find ways for it to not interrupt what we're doing, as well as finding those times where we do need to sit down and talk about it if something's been particularly difficult, or we need to try some new strategies to manage the highs and the lows that come with type 1. I definitely think for us having that community of people, and the DigiBete app really helps with that, because there's always something there that you can go and have a look at, have a search through if you're struggling for a strategy or looking for a different way to approach things, to get some ideas.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. So I absolutely adored doing that interview. I did tell you there was going to be a good section about the animals. I absolutely love her pictures of all those ducks. So thank you again to Emily and to Rachel for sharing a little bit of insight into your world with type 1 diabetes. Really appreciate you taking the time out. So before I go on, we're going to meet Maddie again shortly, but I was just going to read out some of the lovely comments that we've been seeing. So just want to say, Emily, that is a fab duck collection. Everyone, yeah, who doesn't love a duck? I remember you telling me about that in London. Oh yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. She the number of ducks I could see there. So yeah, we always have a duck collection, but it's not as amazing as Emily's. Well, I think it's going to be hard pressed to beat Emily's, although if anyone's willing to take up the challenge, do. Thank you very much, the whole team, for making DigiTalks happen. Oh, thank you, Fiona. This is a very exciting development for Team DigiBete. Special thanks to Hilary at JDRF for being first up with Michelle, Maddie and Rose tonight. Thanks, Fiona. Yeah, no, really appreciate all the comments. Really pleased that you're, getting a lot out of this so far. And then this is a message from Maddie, and obviously a huge thank you to JDRF and the Leeds Children's Hospital and the National Diabetes Network, and the psychologists and young people from across the country have helped us to make these really important resources. That is a very important thing. Yeah, we work really closely with Leeds Children's Hospital, and we work with lots of different families across the UK. And as Maddie's mentioned, and we'll keep mentioning, please do contact us at hello@DigiBete if you'd like to get involved. This is very much about community-led, working together to get the resources and the support that will help us all through DigiBete. So thank you. I think we'll move on. I'm conscious of time, and I'm going to bring up Maddie, who's just going to run through a bit more with the Coping with Diabetes tool. So I'm sure she'll be sharing the screen.
Really great to be here today to show you around the new Coping with Diabetes tool.
So as you can see on the left of the screen, there's a Coping with Diabetes button that's now available to all 10 to 14-year-olds. And we are making this, as we've said before, across all age groups and profiles, including parents. Within the button, you'll find areas such as You're Not Alone, Be Kind to Your Mind, It's Not Fair, It's Too Much, Arguments, and Managing School. And behind these buttons, you'll find some really significant support. So on this area, It's Not Fair, we have peer support films, we have games, as you can see here. So these are games to distract you potentially if you're waiting 15 minutes for food. And you can start the timer, stop it, reset it at any time, and set it for the time that you need. So we've set it for 15 minutes here because that's often the time you have to wait when you're having insulin. But there are also films around why you're not alone, and that there are lots of people in the world with diabetes. And as I've said, there's some guided meditation, breathing exercises, and also explainers around your emotional systems, which I think we saw earlier on today. So here you can see the threat system taking over. And now we're going to listen to young people talking about why it's not fair.
Sometimes there's always aspects of it where you're just kind of like, why? There's always times when you want to do something, and then, for example, if I'm watching a film and I bought some snacks, but then I go really high, so I can't eat those snacks. I'm like, great, yeah. Or if I'm about to do some kind of sporting thing, and you go low and you have to sit out, you're just like, annoying.
I find myself finding that it's not fair I have diabetes when I can feel that there's a difference between me and other people around me. So if I'm having a hypo whereas everybody else is doing something else, I always feel like it's not fair. Why is it me when everybody else gets to do something and I don't get to do it?
So I hope you enjoyed that. And now we're going to have a look a little bit about some of the breathing exercises that we've got in it and just have a bit of a taster for those breathing exercises.
Before we begin, make sure you're in a comfortable position. Look at the screen in front of you. See if you can breathe following the ball around the shape on the screen. Listen to the instructions to help you breathe around the shape. It's really common to have thoughts like, why me? And it's not fair when you're living with diabetes. It can be important to remind yourself that it's okay to have these thoughts and the feelings that go with them, such as feeling upset, frustrated.
So again, we've got some more explainers now from psychologists around how we manage our feelings.
Sometimes it can feel hard living with diabetes. Just like Jake and Anisha, it can feel like diabetes has taken over your life sometimes. It can be hard to see around it or be able to do the things that you enjoy. It can get so big it feels harder to take care of. It can be helpful to give diabetes a character. This might be like an animal like Jake and Anisha, or it might be a shape, a person, or a thing. Giving diabetes a character can make it easier to talk about. It can also help you to think about how diabetes is affecting you and other people. It might even be helpful in finding ways to work together when it's feeling tricky.
So I hope you found that useful. That was kind of based on the mammoth and the hedgehog, which are available. And here's some more young people talking about why it's too much.
Diabetes can feel like it's too much when there's loads of different things that are coming at the same time, and it becomes overwhelming and hard to deal with.
Sometimes you can see it for so long it just kind of goes over the top. Like imagining it as like a pot of water. Every time it builds up and then one day you just,
When you're about to go out and your levels are low, your levels are high, and you can't do the things that you wanted to do because you've got to treat it, I think it becomes really hard to deal with.
And we've also got a section on managing school, which has got some really practical support.
High school was quite difficult for me because the teachers didn't really understand me as a diabetic, because other people obviously are different for their own reasons.
I think diabetes can be difficult at school because I think you've got to be conscious about your levels, and when you're eating lunch or you're having a snack at break, you've got to be conscious about how much carbs you've got to give, or you've got to check the carbs, and I think that can make it a bit more difficult compared to what other people have to do.
It can be really annoying it kind of takes over everything. When you're at school, you just want to get on with it. You don't want to keep having to check numbers. There's always that worry of, has this teacher been told about it? Am I going to get screamed at for taking out my phone or eating in class? I've had so many teachers who I thought knew, who I'd told before, who obviously just forgot, or hadn't read the passport, which everybody has a passport that the teacher's supposed to read before lessons.
In primary school, I used to have the teachers do it for me, and I used to get help and assistance on it, but then when I went into high school, I became more independent and I got used to doing it by myself. And I think there's a change in that, but I think that's also a good change to get used to.
So hearing from other young people and then getting some really practical strategies on what you can do when things are becoming a bit more overwhelming in school, such as looking at kind of doing the noticing exercise, which you could do without anybody knowing that you're doing it, and just bringing yourself and grounding yourself. But also some practical things to download, like the awareness card and screensavers you can have on your phone if you want them. But also there's an awareness card here that you can share with your teachers or any supply teachers. And then you can rate how the activities have helped you. Once you've done this, then you get a well done for completing the section, and you're then able to see your leaves growing on the trees. So every time you complete a section, you get more leaves on your trees, and by the end, you've got a full tree of leaves. So hopefully you found that really useful, and we'd love to get your feedback. Do email us at hello@digibete.org with any feedback you've got or any resources you would like to see moving forward.
Hello, Michelle again. Yeah, so hopefully that's given everyone a good flavour of what is available within the Coping with Diabetes button. But there's 6 areas, there's an awful lot of resources. And this is what we will now be making for all the ages and all the age groups. And even within the 10 to 14s, we'll probably refine that a little bit, because we'll need to make some of the resources a little bit older and nuance them, but they're there for you. So we want to hear your views. What do you think? What needs changing? What would you like to see in it? Because this is an ongoing project. And also then for the other ages as well. So what would you like to see moving forward? If you are 16 or 14 to 16 or even 16 plus, a parent, what would you like to see in it? What would help you? I think from a parent's point of view, we're thinking very much around the cycle of grief and how that is challenging at times, you know, depending on the obviously the experience of your diagnosis. But again, it's that recognition that this is not easy, and that actually your networks and things are all, your support networks are affected, aren't they? And we all have a different journey with diabetes as well. So that's something we need to bear in mind. And we have different times that we need that support, but being able to dip in and out maybe and have a resource that is diabetes specific to support us is, I think, really, really important. So come and join us, be part of it, be part of the team, support the co-design, because we'd love to see you. So the next thing we're going to show is another sort of highlight one of the other really important videos in it, which is about self-kindness. And I just think it's quite a short one. It's only 1.5 minutes, and it's a chance for us all just to reflect on how kind we are to ourselves sometimes. And I think sometimes we're under pressure. We have a tendency to sort of beat ourselves up a bit, don't we? Well, a lot of us do, you know, whether it's about our numbers or our child's numbers or HbA1c, or whether it's about just the arguments that we have around managing diabetes just generally, or just the pressure it has on family life and siblings and like see the brothers and sisters and everything else. So this is a chance for you today. We're going to give you this little bit of space just to reflect on a really lovely self-compassion video. So I'll play that for you now. Oh,
we often find it easier to be kind to others than to ourselves, but it's such an important skill to develop and practice to help with our well-being. Being kind to yourself, which is known as self-compassion, has been linked with higher levels of happiness, curiosity, connecting positively with others, and motivation to learn and grow. It can be helpful when facing stresses. This might include stress associated with living with diabetes, such as blood glucose levels being out of range, or frustration with other people trying to help with diabetes care. Self-compassion helps to activate that green soothing circle in the 3 circles model and to bring emotional balance. Being able to bring kindness to the day-to-day challenges and the ups and downs of living with diabetes can help with resilience or the ability to keep working to care for diabetes.
It's just a little flavour there of some of the self-compassion videos. And I just would like to finish on this section just talking about what's behind it. So, you know, lying beneath this is this resource is lots of psychologists from across the country, lots of young people and families who've all come together and worked for 18 months on developing these resources. So they're based on lived experience, but also from the psychologists, their lived experience as well of managing young people, but also really common therapies like acceptance and commitment therapy and narrative therapies, which underpin all the kind of the evidence base around these resources. So I think we're going to hear from a very special advisor on this particular piece of work, Dr. Rose Stewart, later. And Rose is one of the pioneers, I think, in some of this, and she's been talking about, or she's been developing some really amazing resources, talking type 1 resources around the mammoth you might have heard of, and how to hold a hedgehog, and she'll be talking later to you. But she's one of those psychologists, and there's many more that have been involved in this resource. But also, I'd like just to pay a little bit of a thanks to Rebecca Waldron at Leeds Children's Hospital, who is the voice of a lot of these resources. So when you hear that lovely video just then, that was Becky. And Leeds Children's Hospital clinically approve all our resources alongside the National Diabetes Network, and that's where the psychologists come from too. So a bit of a technical thank you, but thought that'd be really important to share.
Oh, thank you, Maddie. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, because we've had so many people involved, and it's Becky has done such amazing work on this as well. Thank you so much, Maddie. Yeah, I love those. I know I work at DigiBete, but I still love seeing all these videos. So I hope you are all getting as much out of it as I have been as well. And just hearing from young people again, just them opening up it's just been wonderful. So yes, I can see a big comment. Yes, we have got the wonderful Dr. Rose Stewart, who's joining us live now. I think we're going to be bringing her up now. Hello, Dr. Rose.
Hello, Michelle. Hi, everybody.
I promised myself on Twitter, I said, I won't fangirl. But I'm like, it's the author of The Mammoth and How to Hold a Hedgehog. But first off, thank you so much for joining us. And obviously, Maddie's just given that bit of background. But can I hand over to you? First question I'm going to ask you is, can you just share a bit about yourself and your role?
Yeah, so I've been working in diabetes psychology for, about 10 years now, maybe a bit more. So I started off working with small people and their parents in pediatrics. And then since then, I have started working in young adult and adult services. So that's where I work now. I work in lovely Wrexham. Haven't met Ryan Reynolds yet, but he's on the list.
I love that show.
Working, so at the moment I work with people aged 17 and up, and then do lots of things like managing a lovely team of psychologists across North Wales, and I chair the UK Diabetes Psychology Network, and lots of generally rabble rousing and trying to get diabetes psychology on people's agenda because it's a very important thing. So that is my day job, and then by night I write books for people living with diabetes. So the first one that we wrote was Diabetes Burnout, and that was a book for basically people aged 16 and above. And we wrote that years ago in about 2018, I think. And when we published it, the first thing that people started saying is, where's the grown-ups version? Where's the version for parents? So we wrote a parents version. And then I had some very angry children saying, where's the kids version? So I got together with John Matthias and Sarah Crowley, who are Welsh legends in their own right, and they are part of my inspiration team. And we had a long chat about what this could look like as a children's book, because at the time my kids were very small, so I was reading a lot of very good bedtime stories. We were thinking, how could we make this less of a sort of boring leaflet and something that kids might actually want to read? And so John, who seems to know everybody, piped up and said, I know a really good illustrator. And so, yeah, then in came the lovely Rich Dyer, who runs Lovely Stuff Studios in South Wales. And we had a meeting with him where I talked at him for a long time, and literally within about 30 seconds, he'd created all of these amazing characters. It was absolutely magical. So yeah, that's how Mammoth started, and yeah, we've been going ever since, writing more and more lovely books.
Yeah, I know, because most recently you've done How to Hold a Hedgehog, isn't it? And I know at DigiBete they've done some animations too, which hopefully we'll get to show some at the end tonight. That's great. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to read this next question out because it's a bit long. so I'll just say, could you explain to the community, just in simple terms, like what mental health is, and then just as a psychologist, you know, can you offer some suggestions? I know we've sort of seen some of the tools tonight, but some suggestions for things that we can do to support our mental health and emotional well-being, and then who should we speak to if we do need more support?
Absolutely. Okay, so when we think about sort of mental health, I know it's a phrase that can often feel a little bit scary. It can feel like, oh goodness, there's a lot of stigma around it, or I think I'm going crazy, things like that. When we're talking about mental health and psychological health in diabetes, that's not what we mean at all. So to be someone who is living with type 1 diabetes, you have to make 180 extra decisions every single day, whether you're feeling good, whether you're feeling bad, whether you're busy, whether you're having a lazy day. Those decisions still have to be made. And plus you have to do maths every time you're hungry, which is just its own special form of torture and is completely unfair and should not be allowed, but it is what it is. So for anybody living with type 1, for any child, any grown-up, or any parent looking after somebody with type 1, it really takes a toll. It's one of those conditions that is constantly there. It's constantly in your face. You get judged by numbers, and now you get to be judged by beeping sounds as well, which is extra fun. And these things start to sort of zap our resilience. So it's really difficult managing this on a day-to-day level anyway. But then you're so often being told that you're out of range, or that bolus that you didn't work, or that hypo treatment has taken things too far. And that's let alone before you even factor in whether your mum wants to text you and tell you that she's seen your Libra results and she's not happy. And then, yeah, clinic as well, extra judgment. It can, yeah, most clinics are absolutely lovely, but in the grown-up world that I work in, there are far too many people who've had the experience of going to clinic when they were younger, when it felt like being marched to the head teacher's office and was really scary and not fun for them. So it means that people sort of build up all of these different experiences that can really zap how a person feels about themselves. Diabetes is one of those conditions that requires people to be on the ball all the time. And if you don't do that, then you start feeling really ill really quickly. So it's one of those conditions that really teaches people to criticize themselves and to feel down about themselves. So as a psychologist, it's my job to help people get to the place where they need to be, which is at 130% of normal human levels, because you do need that extra amount for living with diabetes. And then when we think about sort of when things start to go wrong, diabetes can bring a whole load of extra stresses. So we know if diabetes makes you stressed enough, that might mean that you get very anxious or you might get low in mood. But then there's other things. So people might have things like a phobia of needles, where they're really scared. Or it might be that they've had a really nasty hypo that has stayed with them and has made them think, okay, well, I want to avoid that, so I'm going to run myself high. And sometimes people just get into a place where they feel completely burnt out. It just feels too much. And that's what Jake's going through in the Mammoth book, where diabetes has just turned into this huge, overwhelming thing that's right in the way of his life. So my job as a diabetes psychologist is helping people to work out all of that side of things. So where diabetes is doing someone's head in, is making them really, really stressed, or if there's other life stuff going on that's getting in the way of diabetes, because we know people have got busy and stressful lives. So if you are, I don't know, if you're moving house, or if you're going to university, or if school's being difficult, all of those things then impact on diabetes. So yeah, it's my job sort of trying to help people unpick all of that, because it gets really complicated really quickly. And I think one of the reasons that we need diabetes psychologists and not just sending people off to normal psychology services is that living with type 1 is such a weird and tricky thing to explain to other people. If you don't live in that world yourself, it is really difficult to get other people to understand. And so that's where sort of psychologists who work in health psychology departments, who work in diabetes psychology departments, we really specialize in that area. So I am as nerdy as the next diabetes person when it comes to talking about closed loops and time and range and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm also equally excited about all of that stuff.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you. I mean, that's everything you're saying there to me. I know I'm coming from a parent perspective. It's like I'm sort of nodding my head because it totally resonates with me. I had no idea before type 1 joined our lives what it meant and all these decisions you have to make. Oh yeah, so it's, if anyone's feeling it out there, yeah, do reach out, because it is very consuming, isn't it? So it's lovely, yeah, to have a team that can support you and help you unpick those and give you those tools, isn't it? So what do you do for your mental health and emotional well-being? Is there any...
Ooh, that's a good question.
All right.
So I am somebody who is perpetually busy because I throw myself into work, because I'm so lucky that I've got a job that I genuinely love. So I don't do sort of big hobby type things, but what I do is lots and lots of sort of mini mental health things, which is just sort of trying to find those moments of sort of calm and peacefulness. So I find that sort of being in nature is really helpful for that, especially at this time of year. So I work in North Wales, where there's lots of lovely skippy little lambs at the moment. So making some time to sort of be out and doing that is really helpful. Music is also a massive one at the moment, although I think I've gone too deep into the new Taylor Swift album. It's more of a stress than a relaxation these days. The theories I have on this, I think Maddie will chuck us off the chat though if we start going down that rabbit hole. So that is a big side of things. I also have two hilariously funny children who, when they are behaving, are a very good mental health help. And I have two very badly behaved cats, one of whom is extremely floofy. And so hanging out with them is also a massive help.
Oh, yeah, I'm already feeling relaxed now. So this has been lovely. So you're obviously, Maddie sort of mentioned before that you've been involved in this coping with diabetes tool, which is obviously what we're been talking about. The question's up on the screen there, but can you share your involvement with that and tell us a little bit more on your thoughts on that?
Yes, so Maddie got me in on this right at the beginning, which was really exciting. So we had a long phone call on a train where we kept losing signal, but in that phone call we were able to get some really good ideas in. And then we had lots of meetings with lots of different people, including some really fantastic young people who shared their views on sort of what they thought might be important and what could be added in. And then we got the psychologist involved, and it was sort of marrying up those two things together. We also had an amazing artist, Katie Lamb. She's just phenomenal, who was sort of doing these amazing sort of visual drawn representations of all of the meetings. I don't think I've ever been so interested in meeting minutes in all my life. I think I'm going to have to get Katie in all of them now. So yeah, getting involved in all of that side of things, because this is such an important project, because there are not enough diabetes psychologists out there, and there will probably never be enough diabetes psychologists out there to meet the level of need that there is. And I think apps and initiatives like this have got such a big role to play, because it's catching people early. It's letting people know that this support is out there, that it's available, and getting it into people's lives before things become really, really difficult. If it was up to me, I'd have 50,000 diabetes psychologists. I would give every single family their own personal psychologist, which is obviously not very realistic, because it's having that support right from the very beginning. So it's not getting to crisis point. It's using this to sort of bolster up that resilience, to help when things just start to feel difficult. So I think it's such an important initiative, and I really can see it helping so many people, because DigiBete is such a great platform anyway. So to start sneaking in this mental health stuff, which was one of the aims of the Mammoth book, was that it's sort of like ninja sneaking in mental health stuff into a nice bedtime story. By doing that, the hope is that it will upskill and help a whole generation of kids and families to really feel like they can manage this, and they can feel strong and resilient, and crucially feel like they're not the only person who's struggling with this. So I think having that on a mass scale is just amazing. I'm so excited about this project and where it's going.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, that enthusiasm as well. It's lovely. Yeah, and actually, so obviously you saw earlier, Emily has created her diary. I think that was the first time you would have seen that, Rose, is it? Yeah.
Well, I met Emily and her mum at an event last year, and they came running up to me and they went, "We've got ducks." And I was like, "Oh, that's lovely. I was really excited." I had no idea it was this level of duck. Like, this is amazing.
I know.
My favorite thing ever happened ever.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah, no, because it was just, on the day, it was just so lovely. And on the app, there is that section, and connecting with what you were saying there about how to manage Mammoth on the tool. And can you tell us a little bit, how that can help people? Because there is a section on there that if young people want to go on and they create their own animal, how that kind of helps them sort of, bit of background to that.
Well, the idea behind Mammoth and Hedgehog, and the whole idea behind Diabetes Creatures, is that it's about sort of getting it out of you as a person, because we know that diabetes is one of these things that can just be absolutely feral sometimes when it wants to be. And again, it's when it is behaving in that way, it's quite common for people to blame themselves and to sort of feel that it's something that I'm not doing right, and it's because I've done something wrong. And actually, we know when we look at the evidence for things like these fancy closed loop systems, so these algorithms are doing more than 100 different tiny little adaptations every single day. And if you think, how is a person supposed to be able to do that and still keep their marbles? It's just impossible. So I think sort of being able to externalize it a bit, sort of putting it out there and saying, okay, this is this thing that is sometimes fine, but is sometimes also really annoying and really stressful. And being able to sort of look at it that way and to say, okay, well, this is what you are, and to be able to make space for it, to be able to accept it. And I think that's an important part of the books, is that Sid the diabetes hedgehog and Mel the mammoth, they don't go away. They don't sort of suddenly say, oh yeah, I'll behave and everything will be fine and we'll all live happily ever after. They do get to a sort of manageable size, but they do still have that ability to be a problem, and that is just the way of diabetes. So it's making space for that stuff and being able to say that, yeah, this is something that I don't love all of the time, but it's there and I accept it and I make space for it. And so being able to sort of have a creature, whether it's a sheep, whether it's a duck, whether it's an octopus, and being able to say, yeah, this is you, this is what you are. Sometimes you're annoying, but I accept you and I make space for you. And it helps people see that it isn't them. It isn't your own personal failing if your diabetes has just decided to go completely crazy that day.
Yeah. No, that makes, and I mean, just to give just my own personal experience, when my daughter, we got the How to Hold a Hedgehog, and I love, got straight drawing. But what really surprised me as well, her brother, who doesn't have type 1, he got right into it as well. So that was a really nice, I was surprised because I didn't think but it was a really nice activity. So yeah, that just from my personal observation, it sort of helped him as well with the sibling that's watching over. So with the diabetes animal, what animal, can I ask you, what animal would you choose?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't think I've ever actually been asked that question before. You put me on the spot now. I can tell you my kids' animals. Neither of my kids have diabetes, but they've also got their own creatures. So my son decided it would be a fox called Jackie. I'm not sure where that name came from, but Jackie is the fox. My daughter, it was going to be an axolotl called Charlotte. Charlotl, the axolotl. I have to think about my one. I think, we've played with a few ideas. I like the idea of an octopus. I think that would be a good one because you've just got to be all over it. I also like the idea of a peacock. That's Katie Lamb's, actually, the artist. So hers is a peacock that keeps sort of going off and squawking at her. I know a couple of celebrity ones, but I don't think I'm allowed to tell you. So yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, Rose, sorry to stop you there, but I've just seen a comment that popped up there. Someone is to meerkats, and they've already started their collection. So you are inspiring a generation.
This is amazing. People have got to start sending me these pictures because I absolutely love this. This is like my favorite thing.
Oh look, we've got a snappy crocodile.
Oh, that's good. Someone did send me a picture of one of those. I had a pediatric nurse colleague, and he had a newly diagnosed 4-year-old, and it was Chonk the crocodile. Oh God, I loved it so much.
Oh, we got a panda in the chat as well. So I think there's loads of animals you're going to have to go through. Rose, I've got one more question, unless we have any more that pop up on the chat. But this is, and I think a lot of people would probably want to answer this one as well. I mean, what do you wish the public knew about diabetes and mental health? And I know you've kind of, sort of mentioned a bit now, but yeah, what if you were just to sort of brand new out to someone who didn't know?
Saying, can you eat that is never, ever, ever helpful. I think would be number one. And I think just for any person with type 1, I think just recognize that this is a person who is running at 130% all of the time, every single day. So be extremely nice to them and maybe give them a present on a regular basis.
I think that's great. Yeah, because you don't realize how much is going on there. And I love the 130%. You're right. It is just so much like that. Oh, right. I don't know. I'm just going to check before Rose, because it's been long. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you've thank you for all your time this evening. If there's any other questions, but if you have questions for Rose, we can put that in the chat. Rose, did you mind sort of hanging on?
No,
around?
I will hang around. I'm loving hearing about everyone's animals. It's really, really cool.
I think we're going to share, show the how to hold a hedgehog. I think we're going to do that right now. I'm just going to check now. And this is one of the wonderful animations that is Rose's story.
How to hold a hedgehog. This is me. I'm Anisha. I'm 8 3/4. I go to Riverside Primary School. My teacher is Miss Crowley. I love playing football, drawing and playing the ukulele. This is my family. I live with Mum, Dad and my 2 little brothers. And this is Sid, the diabetes hedgehog. Sid arrived last year when I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. At first, I tried to get along with Sid, but looking after him felt like a really big job and he didn't make it easy. He was bristly at bedtime, spiky on school trips, and prickly at the playoffs. Sid kept getting in the way of all the stuff I enjoyed. I couldn't stop worrying about what he'd do next. The more I worried, the spikier Sid became.
What if my alarm goes off? What if we forget something? What if we go hypo? What if we do it wrong? What if I go low in football? What if people think I'm weird?
Everyone tried to help, but even Dad's hugs couldn't fix this one.
Sid, you're getting too spiky.
One day, after a particularly prickly morning with Sid, I had had enough. It was time to take Sid to see my diabetes team. But how do you hold a hedgehog? We went to see my diabetes team. We talked a lot and made some plans about my food and my insulin. And then Susie came to talk to me.
Hello, Anisha.
She's a feelings doctor. It was tricky to talk about my feelings in the spikyology sessions in the beginning, but Susie said that was okay, and we could draw about it instead. We worked out that Sid and I were stuck in a spiky cycle. I get worried, Sid gets spiky, I get scared, Sid gets spikier. Susie taught me and Sid to relax, so that my worries wouldn't make me feel so wobbly and Sid wouldn't get so spiky all the time. We made a big list of stuff that would help us together in tricky times. Sid and Anisha's prickle protectors, calm breathing, play my music, talk to Mum and Dad, draw my feelings, relax my body. I realised that maybe Sid wasn't such a pain after all. Maybe he was just feeling scared. Just like me, I needed a friend to tell him it would be okay. Maybe I could be that friend. Over the year, Sid and I did loads of stuff together. My diabetes team introduced Sid and I to lots of new friends. We even had a diversity party. We did it! Things feel loads better since me and Sid learned to be friends. Sometimes he can still get prickly, but that's okay, because I know we can handle this together.
God, love that.
And I think Rob from DigiBete should get more recognition for his excellent Sid voices throughout that. I think there's an acting career for Rob from DigiBete.
Yeah,
in this.
absolutely, I know. I do love his little sound effects. Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. So, Rose, I know we're sort of getting close to wrapping up. I don't know if you had like a final thought, not a Jerry Springer style, but if there's a final thought, or I don't know if there's any comments that we can sort of bring up from the community. We're still getting lots of comments about the canopy
animals. That's right. Yeah, I think it's a final thought. I think one of the easiest things, if you want to improve the psychological health of a young person or a parent living with type 1, I would always say get them in a group every single time, because just being around other people, being part of a community, being around people who get it is so important. For parents of young people, my advice would be start them young and try and keep them going, because as people get to the grumpy teenager phase, they might be a bit more reluctant to do that stuff. So try and make it normal when they're younger, so that they can keep in with that side of things when they become teenagers and they find it a bit harder to go to organized fun, which apparently adolescents are allergic to a lot of the time. So yeah, try and get them in a group as quickly as you can. And for parents as well, join a group of other parents with type 1 kids, whether that's online, whether that is in real life. If you get the opportunity to go to any of the things like the Weekender events or the JDRF events, take them. They will change your life. They will really help you.
Rose, thank you so much for your time. Really loved hearing all your thoughts, and I just saw that there was a comment that if anyone out there wants to send their pictures of their animals to DigiBete, we can make a nice little gallery. And for everyone in the community, we can share that. Yeah.
Also, animal collections. I will also accept pictures of those.
Thank you so much, Rose. Have a lovely evening. I've really enjoyed chatting to you, and I look forward to seeing you, or perhaps on some future DigiTalks.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Michelle, we did have a couple of more questions, if that's okay. Hello, guys. I've joined us live. How is everyone? I hope everyone's having a great evening. We did have a few comments coming through. You can see there, Rose, that's such a good point. Constantly running at 130. Wish people understood better. Me living with type 1 diabetes, I can totally see that. A lovely comment here. We love your books, Rose. All the siblings who don't have type 1 too. So it's great, like Michelle said, with her son Harry, that he's obviously reading the books and watching the videos. So that's amazing. And then we had this lovely comment from Chris as well. When Dr. Rose does arrange for each person with type 1 to have their own psychologist, please can I bid for her to come join our family? She is fab. So upbeat and inspirational. Absolutely.
I'll talk about with my own kids, but yeah, I'm sure that's fine.
And one question coming through as well. What is available for under 10s for seeing psychologists, Rose?
So ideally, every paediatric diabetes team should have their own psychologist or access to a health psychology department. I know that's not the case right around the UK for various reasons. We've got a bit of a shortage of psychologists at the moment, so it's tricky to fill posts. The first port of call would be the diabetes team and your diabetes nurses, because even if there isn't a psychologist in the team, they are likely to know the signposting avenues. So I would always speak to the team about it first. Because even if there isn't psychological support available, diabetes nurses are really good at this stuff. They're really trained in looking after people, and so that there is a lot that they might be able to do that will help. First port of call would always be the diabetes team.
Great advice. Thank you so much, Rose. Thanks for allowing us to jump up. I just had to get them lovely comments and questions
thank you.
To finish. Thank you so much.
Lovely. So there you go. You guys can see the magic that's happening in the background there. It's Tom and all the action going on. We'll see Tom just before the end, I'm sure. Right. I'll say another thank you, Rose.
You're welcome.
Lovely. And we'll keep an eye on the comments as well, because we're going to, I know we're going to be wrapping up shortly, but we will be keeping the chat open for a good 10 minutes or so after it all finishes. So, do keep your comments coming in, and we'll be keeping an eye on there. There's a lovely... there's an array of DigiBete people that are in the background there. Hello, Maddie.
Hello. So just wanted to say really lovely to have Rose on and have her support on the project, and also, again, to all the other psychologists who've been working on it. And there, you should be able to see a psychologist. You should raise it with your team and see how you can access that. And I know that Fiona's on the chat, and maybe she might comment on this for us. But also, I just wanted to say, so with the tool that we showed you today, you'll be able to see the mammoth in there, the hedgehog in there, but you've also got access to all those other resources that we showed you. And if your parents on the call right now, you can spend some time working through those resources with young people, showing them if they're a bit younger. And obviously, if you're a bit older and you feel like you can give that a go yourself, do look through them. Take some time out, take some time for you over the next few days to explore those resources, because they're really easy to use and they're there for you. And we'd love to hear your feedback. But also just wanted to finish by just telling you a little bit more about what else is coming to DigiBete. So what can you expect coming up? We have got a new carb counting feature coming to DigiBete. We've got a new peer support button coming to DigiBete that's been funded by Diabetes UK through the Together Type 1 programme. So I wanted to plug that. So when Rose is talking about meeting up, we'll have the ability for you to find groups in your area from Diabetes UK, and also all the discovery days from JDRF, and be able to see those immediately within the DigiBete app. And you can also hear some comments from your team as well. They can send you news, and DigiBete will send you news and updates and everything that's going on. So big thank you for everyone who's been involved in today's event. It's been great to hear all your questions, and we'll look forward to seeing you again in the future. And big thank you for joining us. So yeah, back to Michelle. Ooh, we can't hear you, Michelle. Oh, you're muted. There you are. So I think we'll be playing out with a video that Tom will be playing for us shortly. But if you've got any other comments, or you want to say anything else in the chat, please do. If there's anything else we can help you with, do get in touch with us. As we've said, we are families just like you, making these resources. So we'd love to hear from you. And yeah, thanks very much, guys. So Tom, over to play us out.
So guys, I think Michelle's having a few technical difficulties, so I'll jump up for our closing slides. Just wanted to go through a few little things from our end before we finish. We hope that tonight's event has been very helpful for you, watching along with your family. We have had lots and lots of people connecting with us on all our social media platforms this evening and on our website, which is absolutely amazing. We hope that the event has been helpful, and we have exciting DigiTalks coming very soon. So tonight we've been looking at the Coping with Diabetes tool, and we looked at emotional well-being, and we had so many fantastic guests that joined us tonight. So a big thank you to Hilary, to Maddie, to Dr. Rose Stewart, and to all our fantastic children that came on and shared their lived experiences, Henry, Jaya, Emily, and also Mum, Rachel. So thank you to all the families that got involved. And if anyone was affected by anything that was in tonight's DigiTalks, you can please reach out to your diabetes team, or you can contact us at hello@digibete.org. So please do that. You can follow us on all our social medias and check out more on our website, and also download the DigiBete app. And you can speak to your clinic about that to get you a code. So head to our website, www.digibete.org, and you can also email with all email addresses at the bottom. So a big thank you from me and the whole team. Thank you to Maddie and Rob and Heather and Michelle and Sam, for everyone who has been setting up tonight. We really hope that you find it really helpful, and we will be back for more DigiTalks in the future. Take care, and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.
bye.